everyone, this is the not very anticipated second video of the chemistry practical advice series, and today we will talk about titration. Yay! So the first thing I'll be talking about, is just how finicky titrations can be. Like if you screw anything at all really badly, the results will not at all be accurate. So in other words, you would need to be really meticulous and careful when going through the entire process of washing the apparatus, removing the air bubbles, adding the correct amounts of reagents, and titrating it correctly, and getting the right end point. You get the drift. And some of the worst titrations include, the one where you had to sample from reaction mixture at different timings. Oh my, that's the worst. So titrations can either be your best friend or your worst nightmare. So we should make sure it's the former. The first and most important thing to take note of, is to be careful and alert. I mean, you just heard how finicky they can be, so you must be very careful. Making any careless mistake wastes both your precious time and also your reagents, which would make you look a bit weird when you come to collect more. So here's a quick run through of what you will need for the entire process. So basically you start by washing all your apparatus twice with distilled water, then you wash your burette and pipette with the required reagents twice. And after that you fill the burette and the pipette and add your reagents into the conical flask. And in this step, if you had to add extra things like sulfuric acid, you had to measure it out. Just put the measuring tube next to that sulfuric acid along with the dropper that you use, so that you don't accidentally use it on some other reagent and contaminate it, I guess. So I think that's a pretty useful tip. It also makes things so much more easier to do. And if there's an indicator, please put it in at the right moment. So most of them you put it in before you even titrate, otherwise what will you see? And but one exception is the starch indicator, which can only be put in near the end point, and I think you guys should know the reason why. Yeah. So the next thing to take note of is that you need to have good control of the tap on the burette and the swirling of the flask. So you must have one hand doing each of them. So if for me, I would use my left hand to control the tap and my right hand to swirl the flask, because otherwise I do not know how to swirl the flask with my left hand. So you just choose which hand to use for which and adjust your apparatus as such. So if your hands are somewhat shaky like mine, I mean they can be extra shaky in the panicky seconds of doing the titration. You might want to rest your elbow on the table, even if it hurts. I mean, you do it once, just deal with it. So yeah. Of course, nearer the end point, you would want to be washing down all the whatever has been splashed on the side, but please don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, it will become really dilute and you cannot see the color properly. So yeah, just maybe swirl properly so that you don't need to do this too many times. So yeah, so towards nearer the A levels, everyone will start having their own strategies when it comes to titrations. I think these are the three main strategies that people use. So the first one is to do one really good and accurate titration and then just bluff the results for the other one. Just write it down, just hope that everything is correct, and then move on. The second method is to do one good one and just double check with another one that you do it quickly. And how this works is, for example, you have the results from the first one, maybe it's like 24.35, and then you decide for the second one, you just let it run until 24, and then after that you do it more accurately, and then you just check whether it's around the same. And it will help you because you have some legitimate stuff to write down instead of having to think hard and bluff for the second one. And the third strategy is to do one really quick meh one, just one that isn't really accurate, and then after that use it to do another accurate one. So the one that I use is the second strategy, because you know I cannot really completely trust my titration skills. So, but anyways, under no circumstance do you go around doing 3 titrations. Do not waste your time doing a third one. If you messed up your first and second one, just go with it. Just bluff the results. You don't have time to do another one unless you can do it really quickly or you have so much of time to do it, which I'm sure you don't. As I said in the previous episode, like you you only have 2.5 hours for the entire practical, and for the titration you'll probably have like 20 minutes most to do it. So I think you should just stick to 2 or even 1, like most people end up doing. So as I said earlier, titrations are really finicky, so you may end up panicking or something, especially really near the end point. The shaky hands, the emotions run high. I don't know why, but you get the point. And from personal experience, I have during normal classes, at least not in the A level, but in normal classes, there have been times where I've reached the end point, but instead of closing the tab, I end up just opening it up, opening the floodgates. Oh no, and just ruining the entire thing. So please don't do that. So if you're very near the end point and you do not want to end up like this, you can try to calm yourself down, take deep breaths, like just do some deep breathing if you need to. I mean, you do know that there's not a lot of time, but I'm pretty sure you would prefer using the time to breathe than to use the time to do an entirely new titration. So yeah, that's basically most of the stuff I have to say for titrations. I think titration will usually be a decently good skill if you practice it well during your lessons, and I think as long as you don't get the one which involves sampling from a active reaction, I think you should be fine. I'll just pray that you won't get the sampling one. So yeah, if you have any other questions about titrations, you can leave it in the comment section below. And if there are enough questions, I may make a video 2.5 to explain those questions or any extra suggestions that you guys want to know about. So that's about it. Please remember to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed listening to this. And as I said earlier, comment below if you have any feedback or any extra questions that you want to ask. Thank you.